Shalom, shalom. Back for another quick hit. And first and foremost, as always, before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the head apostles / elder bishops of Great Millstone who teach and who rule well. Peace, blessings, and safety. To all you sincere Akim, keep pushing, keep believing, and keep the faith, regardless of what people hear or whether they forbear. All right, and this video is going to be entitled History and Prophecy, Ezekiel 36:5 / 1948, and the Balfour Declaration. All right, so I'm going to go into a brief history, a brief reading, so that you can understand what the Balfour Declaration was, what 1948 is all about, the significance of that number, of that year, and then also where it shows up in biblical prophecy. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's jump right into it. All right, so first, I'm going to go into this right here. This is known as the Balfour Declaration. I got it pulled up in Wikipedia. It says the Balfour Declaration was a public statement issued by the British government in 1917 during the First World War, announcing its support for the establishment of a quote-unquote national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, then an Ottoman region with a small minority Jewish population. The declaration was contained in a letter dated 2nd of November in 1917 from the United Kingdom's Foreign Secretary, Arthur Balfour, to Lord Rothschild, a leader of the British Jewish community, for transmission to the Zionist Federation of Great Britain and Ireland. The text of the declaration was published in the press on November 9th, 1917. All right, so let's read what it says, and I'm gonna refer back to this letter later on. But let's read what it says. All right, this is the official document. Okay, the Balfour Declaration. All right, it is labeled the Foreign Office, and it was written November 2nd, 1917. It says, "Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you, on behalf of His Majesty's government, the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the Cabinet, His Majesty's government. View with favor the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people, and will use their best endeavors to facilitate the achievement of this object, it being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of the existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, or the rights and political status enjoyed by the Jewish people in any country. I should be grateful if you would bring this declaration to the knowledge of the Zionist Federation." All right. So pretty much this was the beginning of the 1948ers. All right, the Jewish people. All right, the JOOs taking over what is known as Palestine or the Holy Land. All right. So that's what this is. Let's read about 1948. All right, what's the significance of that year? All right. So this is, let's see. Okay, 1948, Palestine War. Let's go ahead and read about it. All right. The 1948 Palestine War was fought in the territory of what had been, at the start of the war, British-ruled Mandatory Palestine. During the war, the British withdrew from Palestine. Zionist forces conquered territory and established the State of Israel, and over 700,000 Palestinians fled or were expelled. It was the first war of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the broader Arab-Israeli conflict. All right, so this is when what is known as the creation state of Israel was founded. All right, and it all goes back. It started off with 1940 with the Balfour Declaration of 1917. All right, now where does this line up in biblical prophecy? All right, let's go ahead and go to that. So we're going to go to Ezekiel, the 36th chapter, and I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, "Also, thou son of man, prophesy unto the mountains of Israel, and say, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord." All right. And the mountains of Israel mean the leaders, the governors, the government. It says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because the enemy has said against you, aha, even the ancient high places are ours in possession." All right. So going all the way back to 70 AD, all right, the Romans sacked Jerusalem. All right. And the Israelites were scattered into exile. All right. It says, Ezekiel 36:3, "Therefore prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because they have made you desolate and swallowed you up on every side, that ye might be a possession unto the heathen," so like unto the residue of the heathen, "and you are taken up in the lips of talkers, and are an infamy among the people." All right. Why? Because the Israelites were exiled, all right, scattered, all right, hated. And infamy means to be famous for something that's not positive. All right. Ezekiel 36:4, "Therefore, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord Yahweh. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, to the mountains and to the hills, to the rivers and to the valleys, to the desolate wastes, and to the cities that are forsaken, which became a prey and derision to the residue of the heathen that are round about." All right, so they were destroyed. The real biblical Israelites were forsaken, all right, and made to lay desolate. Why? Because of their disobedience. All right. Verse 5, it says, "Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea." All right. And Idumea today represents the so-called white man. And then you have the chief nation of Idumea, the chief nation of Esau, all right, which is the 1948ers. All right. Those European transplants who took over the Holy Land, all right, under the power of the British forces in America. It says, "Which have appointed my land unto their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out unto a prey." All right, cast it out for a prey. So, that's what that fulfilled. Okay, in Ezekiel 36:5. All right, the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea, all right, they appointed their land into the possession with the joy of all their heart. Let's go back to that Balfour Declaration. Okay. "Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you, on behalf of His Majesty's government, the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the cabinet." All right, so he's saying, I have much pleasure to tell you pretty much that it's been approved for you guys to take over the Holy Land, to take over Palestine. All right. Which is the land that was supposed to be given to the original biblical Hebrew Israelites, which is the reason why the Zionists, all right, they try to lay claim to that land. All right. But once again, this doesn't fulfill the Israelites going back home. When the Israelites return, all right, as a matter of fact, let's get that right quick. When the Israelites return, it says the Lord Himself is going to take them there. All right. Jeremiah chapter 23. And I'm going to start at verse 5. It says, "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch." All right, not David himself, all right, but a seed of David, a righteous branch of David, "and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days," all right, "in his days, Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is his name whereby he shall be called, the Lord our righteousness." And who is this speaking of? All right. This king that's gonna execute judgment and justice on the earth is speaking of Yahweh Shai, who we're ignorantly called Jesus. All right. It says, "In his days, Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely." All right. It says, verse 7, "Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that they shall no more say, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all countries whither I have driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land." All right, so this is a future event. All right, it has not happened yet, and it's going to happen when the Lord returns. All right, so the people that are over there right now are not the actual Israelites are in fact, all right, they are in fact, as it says here in Ezekiel 36:5, all right, the residue of the heathen and Idumea, all right, and Idumea is just a Greek word for Esau, all right. That's how Idumea is. So the people that are over there right now are not the actual biblical Israelites. The biblical Israelites are not supposed to return into that land until the Savior comes. And it's not just going to be the so-called Jews, all right, which represents the southern kingdom of Israel, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. It's going to be both the southern and the northern kingdom. All 12 tribes are going to go together, all right. Okay, also, going back to that Jeremiah 23, all right, went into verses 7 and 8, okay. It says that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, all right, because the new deliverance, the second Exodus, all right, from what's known as the land of the north, is going to be greater and miraculous, and is going to overshadow what happened in ancient Egypt, all right, and obviously that has not happened yet, all right. The British and the Americans going over there and making war with the Palestinians, all right, and slaughtering 700,000, pushing them out of their land, all right, that doesn't fulfill this prophecy right here of the Israelites being brought back, the biblical Israelites being brought back into their land, all right. The people that are over there right now are in fact Idumeans, all right, and Yahushua himself said this, all right. He said that the land, all right, Jerusalem, the land and the people, all right, would be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled, meaning until the time of the Gentile rulership, the fourth and final beast of the earth. Until that kingdom is taken down, all right, the holy city, all right, the people and the place are going to be trodden down. This is Luke chapter 21 and verse 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations. All right, this is the scattering. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. All right, so if anyone is over there claiming themselves to be Israelites in Israel, all right, which don't get me wrong, there is going to be some actual bloodline descendants of Jacob that are over there. But as a whole, the people that are over there, that's why I call them the you wish people, because you wish that you were a part of that inheritance. You wish that you were the biblical Israelites, but you are in fact Idumeans, actually the chief nation of Idumea, also known as Amalek. All right, and they really come from the land of Khazaria. All right, they are Khazars. All right, and they were overtaken in war and forced to convert to what is known as Judaism. All right, going back to the 7th century. All right, I believe under John Hyrcanus. But with that being said, they really come from Eastern Europe. All right, they have no ancestral ties. Well, I'm not going to say that because Edomites, their original home was Petra, which is a little bit southeast of Palestine. All right, and that is not known today as the modern day Jordan. All right, and actually, if we look up pictures of Petra, all right, you'll see, what does this look like? It looks like pretty much most Western European architecture. All right, you have, like, this looks like the White House. This looks like Parliament. All right, this looks like ancient Rome, ancient Greece. All right, why? Because it's the same people. All right, they go back all the way to this land, this city known as Petra. All right, this is the home of Esau, the home of the Idumeans. All right, and that's the reason why the United States is constantly sending millions and millions and millions of dollars in aid over to the 1948ers and to the Ukraine, because they're all Edomites. They're all the same people. All right. Now, continuing on, let's get this. All right, the actual biblical Israelites were sold into captivity, all right, as the scriptures say. But I'm going to get this right quick. This is Joel chapter 3, all right, and I'm going to read verse 1 and 2, okay? It says, "For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem," meaning I'm gonna take the captivity I'm going to pull them out of captivity and restore them. All right. Before those days come, it says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yehoshaphat. All right. Which means Yahweh's judgment. All right. Which is known as that area, the Middle East is what they call it today, which is really northeastern Africa and southwestern Asia. All right. Or Western Asia. It says, and I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. All right. So if you go, all right, if you go to a map, all right, of Jerusalem, look at it. It says they have scattered my people among the nations and parted my land. All right, down in the southeast corner of Old Jerusalem, you have the Jewish quarter. In the northeast, you have the Muslim quarter. In the northwest, you have the Christian quarter. And on the southwest, you have the Armenian quarter. All right, so they have taken the land and divided it, all right, then to the Gentiles. All right, the Jewish people, that's Amalek. The Muslims, all right, that's the god of Ishmael. The Arabs, so-called Arabs. And you have the Christians, they're also Edomites as well, all right, which Christian is not obviously it's not a seed line or a race, all right, but Christianity came from the Roman Emperor Constantine, all right, and the Romans were Edomites. And then you have the Armenians, okay, which I'm not exactly sure which biblical people they go back to, but most likely probably a mixture of Esau and Ishmael, all right. But anyways, the Gentiles have split up the land as we read here in Joel the 3rd chapter. All right. So the Lord is raising up the nations to gather them together. All right. To go into what's known as the Middle East for Yehoshaphat, Yahweh's judgment. All right. Also known as Armageddon. All right. And during that time, he's going to destroy them in World War III. All right. Now, why did he do this? All right. It says, verse 2. Let's get that again. Joel 3:2, and I will gather also all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yehoshaphat and will plead with them for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. All right. Now, how did they scatter them among the nations? All right. Well, the northern kingdom was already brought over to what is known as Arsareth in the Bible, which is the Americas, a land that no man had ever dwelt. But as you see here, all right, a few verses down, Joel 3 and 4. Okay, it says, yea, and what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? All right, and Tyre and Zidon, I believe, are Philistines, all right, which go back to Ham. Okay, the original inhabitants of Ham, or the land of Canaan, all right, is that land was originally, Palestine and Israel was originally the land of the Canaanites. All right, and of course the Lord gave it as a possession unto the children of Israel. All right, but he's addressing them here. He says, will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head? Because you have taken my silver and my gold. All right, and this is literally, what's I'm looking for, like the good things of the temple, but also, all right, the silver and gold, the jewelry of the Lord, all right, is the children of Israel, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. Listen to this, verse 6, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. All right. Now, in 70 AD, when Jerusalem was sacked, all right, and the Israelites were scattered, Salaki. All right, when the Israelites were scattered, just like in the time of Yahushua, who the word literally calls Jesus, where did he hide out? Where did Mary and Joseph and Yahushua go to hide? They went into Egypt. All right, why? Because what's known as Africa, all right, which is really the land of Ham, all right, that's a nation of dark people. All right, and the Israelites are also dark people. All right, so they hid among the Hamites in Africa. All right, and they fled and went down into what's known today as modern day Nigeria and West Africa, And what happened to them? There, they were captured by the Hamites, all right, Tyre and Zidon, all right. They were captured by them, and they were sold to the Grecians, all right. Where's this? What's some proof of that? Let's get this right here. This is actually from the Library of Congress, all right. Library of Congress government website. Okay. It says I'm gonna read you the title. It says a new and accurate map of what's known as Negro land and the adjacent countries. All right. Now, what this was, these are old slave maps. All right, for slavers when they were capturing the so-called Negroes, they used these maps. Okay, because matter of fact, let me show you this too. All right, if you go to if you go to the Zorndorven, Salakia Bible Dictionary. All right, and you look up the sons of Ham. Okay, sons of Ham definition. It'll tell you. Let's see. All right. It says Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, one of the 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, but not the Negroes. All right. But the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites, which are known as sub-Saharan Africans. All right. So the quote unquote Negroes were different people from the Canaanites, all right, which spread into what's known as Africa, the land of Ham. All right, that's the reason why they sold them. They sold them into captivity, all right, to the Grecians, as we read here in Joel 3:6. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. All right, this is an old map. All right, if we scroll down to where most of the slaves were picked up from, all right, if we zoom in, okay, you see what it says. It says Kingdom of Judah, all right, or Weta slave coast. All right, this is where the majority of the slaves that came to the Americas were picked up. All right, and they were brought into bondage. Salaki, spiritual Egypt. All right. This is that fulfillment of that Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. All right, brought back to Egypt on ships. All right, because really, if we just go to a map. All right, you just go to a map. You zoom all the way out, and let's go to the other side of the world, and let's see. All right, Egypt and Israel are right next to each other. All right, the children of Israel walked from Egypt into the land that they inherited, the land of the Canaanites, which today is modern day Palestine, all right, which is the homeland for the Israelites, all right, because it was given as inheritance to the biblical Israelites. So they walked. Why would they need to go on foot? And then, of course, you have the Suez Canal, but that was only recently put up. All right, that wasn't there back in those times. All right, but so just making a point. All right. Once again, going back to that map, all right, the Kingdom of Judah or the Weta slave coast, all right. So most of the slaves were taken, all right, were taken by the Canaanites or quote unquote African tribes, all right, the sons of Ham, and they were sold to the Grecians, all right. Who is the Grecians? Okay, as Esau Edom, the so-called white man, all right, that you might remove them far from their border. Okay, so that's biblical prophecy and history right there. All right, now let's get that Deuteronomy 28th chapter. All right, proven. See, this is prophesied going all the way back to the beginning. All right, Deuteronomy 28 and verse, let's see. All right, Deuteronomy 28 and 68. It says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way thereof. I spake unto thee. All right. And what does Egypt represent? Egypt represents the house of bondage. Okay. Captivity is spiritual Egypt. All right. It's not physical Egypt. Okay. Deuteronomy 5 and 6. I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. Okay. So Egypt is synonymous with bondage. Anyways. it says, continuing on, Deuteronomy 28:68, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it, thou shalt see it no more again. All right. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. All right. And Christians will try to say, see, nobody bought them. But if you go into the word buy, let's go to the blue letter. All right. Let's go to the blue letter. Which doesn't even make sense. How can you be sold and not be bought? It doesn't make sense. All right, Deuteronomy 28:68. We go to the blue letter, that word buy. Let's see. Boom.
Strong's H,
Right.
7069. Kana. Kana.
All right, kana. All right. And it says, look, it says to recover. It says purchase, recover, or redeem. All right. Purchase, recover, or redeem. It says to acquire, to possess. All right. To be bought. But essentially, no man shall redeem you. All right. And we've had many different people who have risen up to try to redeem the Israelites from their captivity. But it's the Lord, Yahweh Shai, that is going to do that. All right. Let's get a prophecy on that right quick. Isaiah 63. All right. Isaiah 63 and verse 1. All right, because we are still in the hands of Esau, Edom. He says, who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. All right, so he's going to save. He's going to save the Israelites. All right, he's going to redeem them from the hands of their enemies. He says, wherefore, for what reason art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? I have tread in the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. All right, so this is what the Lord is getting ready to do. All right, why? Because they had sold us into captivity. All right, now let's see. Let's get this. This is also prophesied of Jeremiah 17:4, and this is why the Israelites had to be. There's a great awakening that's happening right now. All right, this is also prophecy. Jeremiah 17:4, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. All right, and forever just means a long time until the Lord returns. All right, but that's the reason why we're in the position we're in. No one knows what the history of the so-called Negroes was before they came to America. They just tell you that you came from the coast of West Africa. But we go to that slave map, all right, the slave coast, also known as the Kingdom of Judah. All right, so now we're coming back into our heritage. All right, but before that, all right, as it says here in Jeremiah 17:4, thou shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. You see that? And he calls us to be in subjection, all right, according to the curse of Deuteronomy 28th chapter. But it was prophesied, all right, Baruch chapter 2 and verse Baruch chapter 2 and verse 30. It says, for I knew that they would not hear me because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves and shall know that I am the Lord their God. For I will give them an heart and ears to hear, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers which sin before the Lord. That's what's happening now. All right. Why do we have to remember ourselves in the land of the captivity? Why do the Israelites have to do that? All right, because according to Jeremiah 17:4, they discontinue from their heritage. But if you ask the 1948ers, all right, they'll tell you that they always knew who they were. All right, they always knew that they were Israelites. They don't line up with biblical prophecy. And why is that? Because as we got earlier, all right, the 1948ers, all right, this is who they are. Ezekiel 36:5, they are Idumeans, all right, who have taken possession of the land. All right, that's the reason why they don't line up with biblical prophecy. They sold the African nations, joined forces with them, and sold the Israelites to the Idumeans, all right, to Esau, to the Grecians. And this was prophesied of as well, that the nations would join up together against the children of Israel, all right, and get them to lose their heritage. Psalms, the 83rd chapter, all right, and verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together one with one consent, and they are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, all right, and the Ishmaelites, all right, so Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, all right, and the fake Jewish people, the 1948ers, the JOOs, all right, and the Ishmaelites, all right, the so-called Arabs of Moab, the so-called Chinese, and the Hagarenes, I believe those are Hamites as well. Gebal and Ammon, so-called Japanese, and Amalek, the 1948ers. The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, all right, the Canaanites, okay, so-called Africans. Assur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Selah. All right, so this is prophesied by King David, all right, where it says a song of Asaph. All right, so it's prophesied of by Asaph, all right, that this would happen, all right, that they would rise up against and become confederate against the children of Israel, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So it all ties in together, all right, but the cat is out of the bag. And I'm going to close out with this scripture. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 33 and verse 29. Happy art thou, O Israel, all right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, all right, those who are still in captivity here in America, also known as the land of the north, also known as the daughter of Babylon, until Yahushua the Savior comes to redeem you, to deliver you. Lord's will we be that number. Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by the Lord, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency. And thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places. All right, so all the lies are being exposed. All right, you have Russia, they just open up their vaults with the old images of all the prophets, the saints of Yahushua, what he looked like. All right, and it don't look nothing like the people that's over there right now. All right, and it's causing a big uproar among the Edomites, you see. So this is what's going on. All right, our enemies are being found liars because the Lord is exposing them and getting ready to bring that mighty judgment, all right, down in the valley of Yahushua, which they're right in the center of it. All right, they're going to be, it's not going to be good. The Lord is going to burn that place up with all those people, all right. But anyways, Lord's will, this was edifying. Just a quick little history lesson, history and prophecy. Ezekiel 36 and 5, all right, / 1948, and the Balfour Declaration. Lord's will is edifying. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh.